How and why are we seeing this leadership shift?
Thank you so much. Good evening to you and the listeners. Well, for us as the African Transformation Movement, after the 2024 elections, we embarked on a process of consultation and evaluation where we moved from our branches to our regions to our provinces. And finally, those reports culminated in a report that was consolidated with the NEC. And in looking at the fast-changing environment in this country and the challenges that are faced by the people of this country, which are not being eradicated in any way, we needed to make changes that would enforce or that would allow us to better advocate for those challenges. But at the same time, as you have seen, if the numbers are not growing fast enough, you are not going to be able to make those pivotal decisions that you can make if you had a sizable number of deployees in parliament, because that would ensure that it is not just advocacy, but also the voting power is also with you. So after that analysis.
Yeah, sorry, and I'll let you finish your thought, but I need to jump on this because I'm just now listening to what you're saying. Is it the party's view then that the reason why the ATM does not have a sizable representation in the National Assembly is because it is your view that Vuyo Zungula has failed to attract voters towards the party? Is that your view, that Vuyo Zungula, as the leader of the party, has failed to attract the electorate?
Not at all, not at all. The reason we are speaking about the separation of duties, it is understanding the rapid pace at which this country is deteriorating to a state of despondency. And if we do not move faster, many are going to be affected. Already, over 30 million people are living below the poverty line. Close to 80 people are murdered every day in this country. The unemployment rate is high. The youth unemployment is high. Teenage pregnancy is high. Some of the challenges that we are faced with, we have not returned the land. Now, many are going to die without us moving if we are not going to make radical decisions so as to address the challenges on the ground. Now, the separation of the duties in the person of the president allow us the space to move at a faster rate so as to deal with the challenges that are faced by the previously marginalized majority of this country.
I mean, I could easily argue that one of the greatest challenges that we have in the country is that you have a ballooning youth unemployment, and that those are challenges that are better understood by younger leaders. And it's just an argument that I'm putting to you. Because in your response to this change of leadership, you say, we need a change of leadership to deal with the current challenges of the country. But you replace Zungula with someone who was, I'll say, much more mature, certainly older, Professor Caesar Nongonga, who is the current chief of the 12 Apostles Church in Christ. So how does an older leader help to deal with the current problems of the country by the party or within the party?
All right. Number one, it is not a replacement. And number two, you have a leader who, even Zungula, is a product of his leadership. Remember that you have Professor Caesar Nongonga, a seasoned leader who has led for more than 30 years, whose footprint in the TACC has given us 29 countries in Africa, the UAE, the UK, that wealth of experience that comes with Professor Nongonga. When we have unburdened Honorable Zungula of the party duties, it is a question of them complementing each other. Remember that President Zungula remains the party leader in parliament, and therefore it is not a displacement, it is not a removal, but it is a mere shift of responsibilities so that they both shoulder the responsibilities for a faster rate of growth.
Okay, I hear that. Professor Caesar Nongonga, though, has been leading the 12 Apostles Church in Christ. So can we then say that we'll see the African transformation movement start to center its politics around the very idea of this church that is at the helm of it? I mean, we know that the earlier sort of permeations of ATM would have been seen in pre-apartheid South Africa, with the church really at the center of it, wanting to position itself as an alternative to the ANC pre-1994. And I think that history lesson is important. Perhaps you can help us with that. But is that to say that we will see the spiritual element of the church starting to be central to the voice of the party in a country that has religious freedom?
Remember that the TACC took an unpopular stance that said, if this country is in a turmoil, we can't look away and say it's going to sort itself out. This is the visionary church. This is Professor Nongunga, the visionary behind the ATM, who throughout the 7 years has, together with all of us, advancing the change of the narrative and bringing this particular administration to account on matters they have done and not done. So the issue of advocacy for as led by the chief apostle is not now going to be introduced. It has been in full swing for the past 7 years. And you have not seen any marginalization of any faith group, because we understand what is at stake here. And what is at stake here is to accommodate all South Africans, regardless of their walks of life. But the common issue is that we are all citizens of this country who must be emancipated from years of colonization. And unfortunately, for the past 30 years odd, under a black rule, there has been further victimization of our people. So there is nothing new that is going to be introduced, because what you've been experiencing for the 7 years was a fruit of the TACC, the chief apostle, at play in changing the narrative of this country.
Just help me with this, because obviously with all issues, a political party will have its positions. One of the big discussions that we would ask, for instance, is what the political party feels South Africa's stance should be on a war, for instance, in the Middle East, that is highly religious and contentious and divisive. When you have a religious leader at the helm of a political party as president, what does that positioning start to look like? So if I ask you if there is any influence of the party or his leadership on how you view the matter of Gaza versus Israel. Indulge me there.
Thank you so much. When we went to our policy conference, that issue was one of the issues that we looked into. Our stance as the African Transformation Movement first is that there must be peace in Gaza. There must be peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And in order for us to be able to deal with that issue, we must take into cognizance the history of 400 years of occupation of Palestinian people under the Ottoman Turks Empire, and also the Aliyah 1, 2, and 3 from the early 1900s of the Israelis. Now, you can wish Palestinians away. They've been there for more than 400 years, close to 500 years now. And you can wish the Israelis away, who have been there for about a century old, since they were then called back to Israel. Now, for us, the issue of coexistence has been at the center of it. But it is critical to note that the Palestinian people were displaced by the Israelis when they came back.
Okay.
And it is good to note that the Balfour Declaration did not say that they must be vacated, but it spoke to coexistence. And unfortunately, that was not the case when it was implemented.
Yeah.